Happy Saturday. Yeah, it's bright. I want to say it in my hat. There, that's better. Put the baseball cap on. Yeah, we got clouds coming in. It's nice and cool though. So, not gonna do anything in the bees today. Yesterday I went to do a split. Pulled honey instead. Man, that deep, I forgot how heavy a deep box of honey is. My word, I almost couldn't lift it. I just got done watching Shona's video about running into problems with the weather and the back and forth and the super high humidity and the micro dearths, mini dearths, that's what I kind of call them. It's all that up and down flow, you know, that you can get with the weather. She was talking about having to potentially start feeding, and she's talking about pulling uncapped honey. And I also live in a very high humidity area, and for me, I actually, if my uncapped honey doesn't shake out of the frame, I would rather dry it down the rest of the way myself than make my bees do it, because as soon as we start getting wet in the fall, they can't get that dried down anymore. And that's what I wanted to mention to her, that with, see, they're not bringing in very much. Come on, get out of there. That's okay. So with all that extra humidity and rain, the bees can't get the honey dried down to finish capping it. And she was at her bee club meeting, and some of the old timers were telling her about that, and she's 100% right. In the situation that she's in with the humidity and stuff, they can't get it dried down. But I wanted to show her my feeding bucket. I had a little bit of, looks like they didn't care about it. I had a little bit of honey left in some buckets, and so I used water to wash them out and what have you, and then put that water in here. But it doesn't seem like it very much for them to go after. But I wanted to show her my overtime feeding bucket that I made. I've seen other beekeepers use it, but I've also seen a lot of beekeepers that have never, you know, seen. Sorry, the battery went dead. At least it kind of almost went dead at a good spot. So what I was saying is, there's a lot of beekeepers that have fall flows and that types of things, and they don't really have to feed all that much, and that's a great thing. I made this bucket. What I was going to show, except for those bees are over here now. If you look real close, you can see my small little holes that I've gone along, and it makes it so like these troughs fill up, and you don't put holes where the handle is, because if you do, it just runs right out. But you go along and you drill a little hole. Now ideally, if you can, you want a bucket where this lip is closer to the end, because anything below that lip doesn't feed into the troughs, so you end up with less waste with the smaller space right there. See, like this bucket, that bucket's not all that great for it, because you're wasting, you know, I mean, if you had to, it'd work, but you're wasting a little bit more, you know, sugar syrup with that one. But you go through and you drill those, and you put your lid on and you flip it over like they do with the bucket, you know, feeding with the buckets on top of the hives. Those fill up, the bees are, and then they line up all around that, and they feed off of it. And usually takes about 2 days, maybe, better part of 2 days, to take a bucket down. Mostly because they can only cram that many bees in there, you know, along there. I'm gonna make me a second one, and so that way I can have 2 bucket feeders running down in my feeding station. we're getting to that point. Could have showed this when I was down there though. Dang it, I gotta walk all the way back down there. We'll fast forward you. Oh, buddy, run! Buddy, run! Run, buddy! Getting to be a lot of them around here. Bet you there's half a dozen of them. We were pretty cool last night. I think down upper 50s, 55, something like that, 56. See, now the other thing I do is my partial food frames and such stuff like that. I'll set this up and I let them rob them out. And see, and that's all just honey, so you know, it's not like it's anything. But it also makes me a new fresh comb for them to work on. So we're letting them rob out those food frames, and I've got another batch that I'll run through it. And we're letting them rob out all the old wax cappings and that sorts of stuff. But I want to make me a second bucket so I can set up 2 of them, and then potentially my robbing frames in the center and that sort of thing. And then I'll also take the tub later in the season, and I'll set the tub underneath, and when I start feeding internally, I feed a little shy of 1-to-1. Ooh, gardener snake. A little shy of 1-to-1 in the hives, and then I take what is left of my mixing tank and I'll put it out in the trough and in the buckets, and then I thin it down, fill up the trough, fill up the buckets with water. So then it makes it, you know, like 1/4 to 1, and they go crazy over it. They take down the stuff in the trough and in the buckets faster than they do the, you know, close to 1-to-1 in the hive. But it's kind of a progressional thing. I start off, like right now, I'm feeding back all of the partials and, you know, those types of food frames. And then I progress to thin syrup over time. Then I progress to thin syrup over time and internal. And then we get heavier and heavier as we get closer and closer to the end of fall. But a lot of beekeepers don't have to deal with half a summer and all of fall with a primary dearth, so they don't run into the feeding issues. Hey, we got blackberries turning. That's cool. But I wanted to kind of share that. I was kind of been getting ready to do a little bit of a feeding video, but I saw what she was running into and wanted to share with her how I've dealt with having to feed on a larger scale. We made the mixing tank last year because I was noticing that I was going to have to make syrup in a fairly substantial volume, but that's what we're getting ready to do now. So you all have a blessed day. Bye.